The achievement gap refers to the disparity of achievements between various student groups. It exists specifically between groups that differ in socioeconomic status, race, ethnicity, and gender. There are various causes for the achievement gap. One main one being lack of funding and resources in schools. Another one being cultural incompatibilities. Sometimes content in class is based on experiences and not all students share the same experience. Another one is tracking. Tracking is more common in high schools, and it is a way to separate the achieving students from the underachieving students. This, along with cultural incompatibilities, tends to lead towards racial bias in classrooms. Another cause would be large classroom sizes. With so many students in one classroom, it would be hard to give every student the attention that they need and deserve. Another cause is also unqualified teachers. Unqualified teachers minimize student achievement. I am currently volunteering in an after-school reading program that is in partnership with Title I schools. The group that I currently work with is made up of 12 Latino, Black, and Asian middle schoolers. They all come from the same school, so I'm not quite sure of the demographic of the school that they come from. It does make me wonder, however, if there are a low amount of white students at their school, or if the white students at their school do not need extra assistance when it comes to reading and writing. Knowing that Title I schools are in low poverty areas, you can assume that the students come from a low poverty background. But I cannot make that generalization since I do not know specifically what each student's background or situation is. What I do know about my community is that there are a large amount of students who come from families that do not speak English or speak very little English. Based on personal experience, it is hard for a student to succeed when you need assistance in school assignments and your family member doesn't know the content or doesn't know the language. When some assignments are some that need to be taken home to be completed, it is hard for students to get the help they need outside of the classroom. And oftentimes, families aren't aware of the resources available to them or to their students. My proposal for closing the achievement gap is made up of a 3-step process. The first step being increasing funding. This funding would cover teacher pay and funding for student resources. The second step is to incorporate student and community culture into the classroom and into the curriculum. This would be a way to make students feel welcome into the classroom and that they are important. It would also help get rid of cultural bias. The third step would be to get rid of gifted programs in elementary and to get rid of tracking in high school. All these programs do is segregate students instead of helping them succeed by splitting them up by low-achieving students and high-achieving students. The first resource we need is the community. People need to be aware of issues affecting the community and how they can help make it better. This includes voting on issues that will positively impact students. I would also need teachers who are willing to take their students' culture into consideration when planning lessons. State curriculum can be used as a template of what needs to be taught, and teachers can find a way to incorporate topics that their students can connect with. I would also need to get into contact with someone on the Board of Education to talk about detracking schools and getting rid of gifted programs. A committee would need to be formed that will come up with ways to help students that are not succeeding. This will include creating programs that promote student achievement. The main obstacle I can see occurring is the community not being behind school funding. Most people see the idea of their tax dollars going towards education, and most of the time they are against it. This is sometimes due to lack of voter knowledge on issues. Another obstacle would be parents being against getting rid of gifted programs and tracking. The trouble might come from parents whose children are considered high achieving. They would not want their children to be on the same level as low achieving students. This stems from internalized discrimination that low achieving students come from lower class backgrounds. Based on my solution, I would hope that all students and their families feel that they have been given an opportunity to succeed. All students will be held to the same expectation of high achievement while being provided the tools and assistance they need to get there. With more funding, schools and teachers will be able to provide their students with the resources they need to reach their goals. Incorporating their culture will make them feel included and let them know that they matter. Getting rid of tracking will remove what is basically segregation based on what is believed that the students can achieve. This issue is important to me because I know that the achievement gap is a very real thing, and I have seen it in my schools and educational settings that I've observed. I also think that it is important that students be proud of who they are and where they come from. Students also need to know that their background contributes to who they are, but it does not define them or limit what they can achieve.